I try to talk without my mic on. Let's see how that works. Check 1 2 check. Actually, let me get my mic. $110%. It says. Well, that's interesting. Check 1 2. Just gonna wear this right here. It's an annoying little mic, but it'll save us from you not being able to hear me, I guess. Why is it red? It's red. What does that mean? Check 1 2. It's red. Um, Here, I'll just put it on here. I'm going to be writing the rest of this Python code today. I have a couple of error. Oh, hey, Jason, how you doing? I don't know if that's going to be good or not. We'll try it out. Check 1 2. Yeah, it's a little bit better, I think. Slightly better. I am not inclined to like do the whole, the big fancy mic thing. It's just too much work to be always in front of it and everything. So we're gonna go get ahead and get going in the Python. So what are the goals for today on this video? Yesterday I did an 8-hour video. I did not intend to do an 8-hour video. I went through a bunch of hassles with regard to what I want to do here. So what we're writing is a script that pretends like Ansible and other CI/CD methods in the world did not exist. Because the reason I need it is because in my environment, those things do not exist currently, and we have some urgent requirements to get code deployed and make sure we don't blow out changes that have been made live to test systems and to production systems that have never been captured in Git. So the intent of this project is to create a tool that will save you from overwriting stuff that other people have done wrongly, in my opinion, in place to edit on things to do live testing, kind of like we used to do in the 90s. You would just go change your Perl code. This is Perl code, by the way. And then you would, you just, hope it didn't break anything. There was no source management that anybody used anything. So this system that I'm working with right now, that's what we're working with, and we have to modernize it. And half of the team that I work with doesn't even know Git. They don't want to use it or anything. So I've kind of become the Git wrangler, which means that I have to make sure that everybody's changes are constantly gathered into a PR and synced up so that our development branch in our Git is actually in sync with what reality is, so that when people do their coding against it, they can do that. And that is not happening now. So we tried to use Bash when we first went to it. I've actually finished this entire script, and I'm staring at it right now. I'm staring at a what is it, like a 108 line Bash script that does the same thing, but very poorly, and has a lot of problems. This was written in collaboration with some people on my team who I strongly disagree with on some of their design decisions, and it just bothered me enough to make my own. So that's what we're doing now. We've got through a bunch of it. So if you're into Python code, yesterday I spent a lot of time reminding myself how to do Python. And I only have 7:30, 8:30. I have about 90 minutes this morning to work on this, and then I have to go. So, so we got it to be very clean. We have it so that we just have the one deploy script, and we have the pylib library that it depends on. I actually am thinking of renaming this stuff really quickly because, again, this is a local lib. Um, and it's not just a bunch of Python lib. This is actually a library that is only um, for doing this kind of thing. And I put everything into a init so that it's all, exported directly. Just because, I mean, it's just easier to manage it that way. We have some things we have to change there. All right, so we need to add the rsync and all that. And actually, where is my phone so I can see what you guys are saying? As soon as I get into coding, I can't see you guys anymore. I was going to put some music on, but I'm actually going to be fine without it, I think. This is going to go pretty quickly. Oh, damn. We have lots of notifications from last. Oh, shit. We had an outage last night, a big time outage last night. Yeah, I'm just noticing it. Yep. Looks like everything's okay. It looks like they fixed everything. Yeah, that was ugly. Anyway, so let's see here. Let me turn on the chat so if anybody has any questions. Again, I'm just doing this to capture it so that people have a habit and they can make their own decisions. The right thing to do here is to integrate this into Ansible, which is another reason we pick Python or any other kind of CI/CD. So if you're wondering, what the best way to do it is, that's pretty much the best way. Let's talk about the naming here really quick. Pylib is pretty damn generic. I don't want to have that. I want to have this library be specific, even though it's local. So we import from pylib, import deploy changes, blah, blah, blah. What should we call this? We could change this. We could say from deploy lib. What if we called it that? I mean, that way it would be together. Yeah. From pylib is like local lib, like all the local Python stuff. I guess pylib is fine. It's a local Python libraries. Yeah. What do you think? From If I just said lib, then people would put whatever in there. Yeah, this is probably gonna work. Pylib works. The more I think about it, it works. People know what's in there. The only thing I would use is deploy lib, but then if anybody wanted to put other things in there at the top level, I wonder if there's a convention for that. I could do underscore lib, which means it's like meant to be used locally only. I wonder if there's a thing. I'm not doing Zwips. Not this morning. I gotta go. So, is there a conventional name for a module that is just Python local? Uh, that is Python module that is just that just has stuff to be used locally. In Python, you could do Python. We could do PyLocal project deploy utils. Small helper functions used by nearby code. Utils.py. All right, fine. That's fine. Let's do that. Move pylib to pyutil. I mean, util is kind of like a juncture if it grows too much bigger. Yes. Helpers, pyutils explicitly local or private. We could do utils. Let's do that. I want to do that. Move pylib to utils. Helpers. The DJI Osmo Audio is only at 11% battery. What the hell? Does that mean it didn't get charged? It said it was at 110%. Check. Oh well. I thought it was charging this whole time. I guess not. Oh well. Often uses use common lib and scripty repos. Yeah. Yep. Internal when used is very explicit. More common in packages than scripts, but still valid. Local. I was going to use local stuff. I think I like lib. If it's one script, blah 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 helper, several scripts common, coding private, utils, internal, growing into a package, make it a directory. We already have a directory. Yeah, I'm just gonna use lib. No, I'm just gonna leave it as pylib. I'm gonna leave pylib so there. And it's less because I already did it. Get status. We didn't change any code. Hey, how you doing? Dayloop. All right, so what do we need to get done right now? So let's work on this. We need to get, so right now when I run deploy, it shows this, it says there's no file map. Oh, one of the first things we need to do is we need to derive the location, the relative path from the files. And we're not doing that, so that the program can be run from anywhere. So let's do that. So let's do pylib and yeah. If I do this, this kind of makes me want to make it so that the imports are reliable. Do we even need the from? The problem I have is I can't have be in the same script. How did this audio transmitter disconnect? It's been charging all day. That is very problematic. not have been plugged in. So we're gonna have to deal with that bad audio for a while. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to start a library of commands. This is what I want to have happen. The problem with this is that you have the problem of the names colliding. This is what I want. How can I make that happen? I like my APIs to be really good. So what I actually really want this to be is this. Uh, Push or overwrite. Yep, I want to use that, and then I want to use preview and use parse format. This is I want that's what I want to have. I don't know how I'm going to make that happen, but that's what I want. Deploy, import, sync. I think we should have push and pull. Push, preview, pull, parse format, parse format. Um, file map is implied, so we don't need that. I want this to be really clean. I want it to do this. I want it to say, uh, import everything from deploy. This is going to be a lot of changes, but this is good. I've had time to think about it. Import deploy. I just need to make this happen. I don't care how I have to do it. Um, Imported, but unused. All right, so we need to do this. We need to say cd into the Python library. Um, I could do import deploy from pilot. That's what I should do. Yeah, let's do that. No. No, I think that'll actually work. Yep. So I can do from pilot import deploy. Um, no, I just want to import all of deploy. Deploys the module. Okay. This stuff is going to count later because I think this is going to grow. That's why I want to do this. So pylib is just going to be a place to put libraries. And we need to put a module in here. Now, there's a couple of things I could do here. I could just make it deploy.py and be done with it and put it all in deploy, which is probably what I should do. I don't think this, if I do that though, I don't know if the testing's still gonna work. So we've already saved this in Git, so we're good. Let's leave it like this. And this is now the module. So by the result, okay. So the only thing we have to do here is we need to put pylib in the path. So we can do that. So I don't remember how to do it really. How do I insert Python pilot in the current directory with the script into the Python path from the script, from the Python script. Now I could just update the environment variable, that would do it. But there's a better way to do that. There's this, you do this syspath thing. Future parameterizations, there you go, syspath. Pylib equals here, here's what's pylib directory, extra script. Yeah, there we go. Insert. Syspath.insert pylib. Put it in front so it wins. I think you have to get the entire path though, right? Uh, I think. Like, how do you show the Python path? There goes path result parent. Pylib equals yeah. All right. So uh, yeah, it's just already. Um, import path lib. Just path invert search right here. Yeah. From Pylib import foo. Yeah. Um, I don't, I don't want to do that. I want to just do this. I want to say import deploy completely. Um, imported but unused. Okay, so then this becomes deploy.parse. This is very Go. It like as a module level import, not a top of file. It shows you how much I don't know Python anymore. Um, I think I can just put live in there. How do I go? I want to get this right. I want it to be pretty. Separate bootstraps. Okay, it's just about one liner. If I live, if users are deploy via the site packages. Yeah. How is Omg? I don't know what that is. Um, there was a much easier way to do this before, and that's why I'm struggling. Uh, the reason I'm doing this is because you can't run the test suite against files that don't end in .py. That's why. So I'm going to try one thing else. There. That's what we want. That is what we want. Preview, parse. Push, get dip. This is perfect. Now, can we still do our tests is the question, right? Let's see. So just preview changes. We passed. Oh, right. If we go into our tests and we do by test dash s, we pass. All right. So, um, um, we don't really need this. All right. Um, I think this is way better. Let's just make sure that the deploy script still works. Okay. So I can actually do this from here. I can do pylab tests map.yaml and deploy command not bound. All right. So it didn't bind anything because none of those files are here. So um, we can be relatively confident it is going to work though. Let's just test it. Let's copy. Let's make a new file now. Let's say that I wanted to. Oh. I remember. Um, we need to make the file map the authoritative root of everything that's happening. So that we need to do right away. That's like super important. Um, so uh, we need to say, so this whole exe parent thing, this is not what we want. This is the executable. This is where deploy lives. Right? We don't really care how deploy gets run. We don't. What we care about is where the file path is. So the base is not the exe parent. The base is the root of the file path, and that is not set until you do the parse. So so then we need to add that here. So whoops. So to do add base based well based on location. All right, so and that goes for everything, right? Um, as soon as you call parse, it changes the global of the package. Now we could return it and make it more functional, but then other stuff would need it and it wouldn't know it. So I think we're gonna do this instead. Um, so we need to find that file. Um, and quite honestly, it's the host name of the thing. Okay, never mind. So exe, all right, so the path led to, not to the syslog_b, but to the path itself. I don't know if pathlib is going to do that though. Abstract paths on concrete paths alterations, semantic operations, operations. Yes. All right. So we want the path lib of this path, and then we want to generate the path. So this is um, full path, and then we say full path here. Full path parent is the directory that it is local variable base. All right. So actually, we don't want local variable base. We want base up here. We want base. Um, we just want base to be a global. I think we need to put actually global here. Expected comment. I forgot how to do this. You guys remember? Thanks for hating. Because in Python you have to declare that you want it to be a global. It's the opposite of go. It's going good. I'm just cleaning it up. Global count. Yeah, that's you gotta do it separate. All right, so that should cover us because that gets us where the file name is. If this is right, then we should just be able to run this. Um, and have it work. Wait, deploy. So if we tell it where the file path, right now it's going to fail because it's going to try to find it right here. But if we do it, if we tell it where the file path is, Python lib test, whatever, it should resolve all of the paths in the file map to the location of the file map as its directory. And the reason for that is because they are all relative paths. So like if I open this, that's the whole point of file map, right? So it has all of these relative paths, paths that are relative to the file map. And I was doing it based on the script, which was always wrong actually. So it's really based on the file map. And it just happens that the default location is there. So this should actually be really robust. This should be able to be run from anywhere. It doesn't matter how you execute the deploy script. What matters is the path that you provide to the file map based on your current location. So when you run that, it should say what it's going to do. Um, and so we can actually mess with that file. Let's add another one. Um, it looks like everything is passing currently. So if I do this, let's do, actually it doesn't look like it ran. So let's go try it again. Let's see if we can put some debugging stuff in here. Uh, do we do push? We didn't do push, we did preview. Um, I don't think it ran. Oh, it did. Nice. It just means it didn't make any changes. Actually, it didn't preview all the changes. No. It did a get diff of the source and the target and return code to zero. Change depend. It didn't change anything. Actually, let's do this. Let's, instead of printing mate, let's actually print the difference. Let's print oh no, it's returning all the ones that changed. It's doing exactly what we wanted. Yeah. Um Deploy preview, it returns everything that was changed. So that's, it's not actually printing it out. We would have to print it out. Preview should probably be something different. We should probably do uh, deploy dot get changes. Um, no, I like preview. But preview suggests it's actually going to print them out. Uh, we could say um, get dip is 1, right? Get dip all items, get dip 1 item. Yeah, let's do that. That's better. That's like way better because it's the same as get dip. Yep. That will not make me as confused. So then over here instead of whoops. Deploy import deploy. We can say deploy preview is what we want. We want preview actually. We want preview to print out all the changes. This is a it's going to get dip all and then it's going to do the preview. So let's actually change that. Let's do it right. Uh so get dip and then preview is going to get dip at all. So changes. All right, get diff the changes. So the changes equals get diff all. Uh, um, okay, so this is actually going to have to do a lot of stuff because we're going to have to do the parsing too. So items changes is going to get diff all the items. So the items is going to be parse whatever. Yeah. Uh, and the yeah. I mean, we could set the path on the module. Make it a global. I don't think so. I think preview should always, I think we're gonna stay functional here. I don't want to violate functional stuff. So this gives us the items. Wait, see how we're doing parsing up front here? This should not have to be done. We should be able to pass the file map into our main things. Um, the problem with that is it would have to parse it every time. So I think that's probably better though. I mean, that's going to make this code a lot simpler because instead of pushing these items, we could push the map and then instead that way we don't have to parse up front. See, we're doing it in the wrong time. Oh yeah, this is like I am so glad we're refactoring this. Okay, so we have the parse file map. The other thing too about this is we don't have to maintain this global base thing. We don't because parse will give us that. Um, we don't ever we don't ever need it. Hey, Tamara, how you doing? So, um, if our main top level entries are always based on a file, then we're good to go. So let's do that. Let's say let's make um parse has to take a file map. We are not going to export the base path. But never use base is never assigned. We don't need that. So um, the reason for this is, you know what? Um, I feel like we should return two things here. We should return items, and we should return uh, the base path. No, it has nothing to do with this function. We got to write this code correctly. It has nothing to do with it. That goes into preview and push. Now we could set it. We could set it on the entire mod itself. We could say that the mod has to have, you have to set it on the module, but that is very unfunctional. So it's really hard to test it that way. So if we do this, uh, yeah. So we're not going to make any file path. We're going to make file path is path equals file path. So we're not even going to do this. Parse the path. That's it. Yep. We're going to say file map. Parse file map. File map. Parse the file map. And that gives us back our items. And then over here, we're going to preview the file map equals file map dot YAML. All right, so then the full path to the file map, we'll resolve that. And full path of parent, local variable basis unassigned, yes. But we are going to use that. That's kind of why we're doing this. We can't use directory there, it won't work. Changes equals get diff all and items. So we need to get the items. So we need to parse the file map. So items equals parse file map. Okay, and then we got the items, variable base. Well, actually, we need to resolve the. We want to parse the full path. And then the changes. See, all of this other stuff needs to know what its base reference is. Yeah, I think we're gonna need to make a global. Um, it's either that or we're gonna have to parse the file every time. So I think this is okay for us to do. This is not something I would normally do, but base equals empty string. And this is, I think we had it right before because getDiff needs to understand all these things have the assumption that the items are referring to. It's either that or we resolve all the items and we make all of the items have their full paths in them. which is another thing we could do. We could make it so that when it parses the full path, the items that returned are resolved. That's probably the better thing to do. Because that way the items are full paths that have been fully resolved. That is way better. That is way, way better. And it's also easier to read. So, um, yeah, let's do that. So the base equals a full. So, okay, if we do this, then that resolution needs to happen in the parse function. So these two things need to go into the parse function. And then we'll put them here. And then we just do items equals parse file map. And get default, get all the changes. And then we need to print the changes. So for change and changes, um, uh, print change dot stud out. It's really quick and dirty, but that should work. Okay, so to do add exception, yes. All right, so the file map, and when we do the preview, the file map is assumed. Now, I think, because a lot of things are going to need to be doing this parsing. I think we can get, I think, I'm trying to decide where to put the default value. I think it should probably go here. Full path equals path to the file map, resolve, base equals full path, look at base. Okay. All right, now we're going to add it to base. So after we get done with all the parsing, we have to iterate through the items and we have to resolve any of the items that do not have a full path on them. So if um, I'm going to make a function for this. The resolve items. Resolve item. We have to resolve the items and the targets. Yeah. Resolve item paths. And we give it an items list. And then we do a for item in items. And we're going to change it all. So item, oh, I got to go soon. Item dot source, let's see. Item dot source, oops. You know what? Can Python YAML unmarshal like go into structs? God, that would be so much better. It doesn't do that automatically. Wait, what? You actually can do this. You must explicitly build nested object. You kidding me? Hi guys. Classes are not new. Yeah, I'm not doing that. That's too risky. All right, so uh um Rush, how you doing? If the item data source begins with, as it starts with or begins with, I can't remember. Or ends or something. I forget the string thing. Starts with prefix. Yeah. The same family ends with a prefix. Wait, what? Python style here is very consistent verbs lowercase. Starts with right. All right. So if we have a source, the problem is if we don't have a source, that'll blow up. Starts with slash. If it does not start with a slash, if not item starts with a slash, then we can. This is immutable or mutable, so I think equals. Uh, Wait, there's a lot of pass. Again, this is going to need the base items and the base. Layer base are belong to us. This is really slow, but I don't care. I want that. Those two all change. So we want the target and the source to be resolved. And because items is an array and not a tuple, we don't have to return it. It'll happen on the thing, which is not functional, but that's just how it is. It's a mutating operation, which I don't like, but whatever. Full path equals path lib resolve file map. Base equals full path of parent. All right, and then we need to say, uh, do we need file map for everything else? I don't think we even need it. Oh, we do, because we need to open, uh, yeah. This should not have to be resolved, but we might as well do full path instead. And then we could transform the items. Actually, we could just, if we were going to do functional, we could do this. If that was go, that would transform it. That would return a new thing. Hey, Nick. And so we return resolve item paths, items, and base. So that should get us everything looking the way it's supposed to. And we can actually write the test case now for it. So yeah, in fact, I think my PyTest just blew up. PyTest. PyTest. What? Nice. Okay, I guess I'm gonna run a new test then. Um, yeah, my tests are too easy. Test the preview changes. Okay, so here we go. Changed equals preview changes items. This just tells us whether we want to change or not. Preview changes is going to actually print out all the stuff. So we have get diff all. Let's do that. Let's do the changes to get diff all. Get diff all changes. So let's do a PyTest again. And oops. And let's add get diff all changes. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure that these got resolved, but this is probably not the test to do it in. We need to do another test that just tests resolve. Test test what is it called? I forget what it's called. All right, let's do this. Resolve item paths. A test. Where are we? All right, test resolve item paths. Resolve item paths. Items equals. Wait, we can grab this, steal it. We can grab that. Items. No. Nope. No. I'm already doing everything I need to do. It's auto reformatting. It's telling me my errors and stuff. And it's not overkill. This is what I'm using. All right, so items. Let me do um, items equals items resolve item paths undefined resolve item paths. No, it's not. It is. What's right there? Oh, I know why. Our import's wrong. Yes, we just need to do import deploy. Import but unused. Okay, so all of our stuff is gonna need deploy. Yeah. Which it should. This is the right way to write this. So god damn it. Deploy source exists. I want qualifiers. This is very I want to make it like Go. Go it favors qualifiers, and I want that. I need to go eat some food really quick before I go. I gotta go drop somebody off. I'm gonna be in North Carolina on the 26th through the 29th. If anybody wants to see me and they live there, let me know. I'm meeting about 5 people. You pay me out to do real coding. Yeah. Um, all right, so that should be done. We got all of our errors done. Let's run our PyTest. Good. All right, deploy preview changes module pilot deploy has no attribute preview because we changed the names. That's right. Which is this is one of the great things you get. This is a very Go like thing. You don't stutter. So having deploy changes would be wrong. So it makes you pick better names, which I love. I absolutely love that about Go. Deploy those sources exist, deploy that sources. So for example, we're gonna have a push instead of a deploy. And we don't have that currently. So we have errors. Okay, so it should not be a string. What is going on here? Argument should be a string on a position path above a string, not a list. Oh. What line is that? Line 150. Change. Okay, yeah. The preview items. Yeah, this is no longer a thing. I don't think preview returns that anymore. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we changed preview. Preview is just an operation. It doesn't return anything. Um so yeah, that this needs to change. So test get ship all changes. Yeah, so we also changed this. So um we don't want to call it this. We want to call it get diff. Get diff all items. And then we want to check the ones that got changed. Yeah. I test that. Okay, that one took care of it. Type resolve item paths. 37. Display resolve item path. One record. Oh, base. That's good. See, that's why we do testing. Yes. Yes, queen. Yes, queen. We need a base. All your base are belong to us. We can hard code the base because it's a test. So the base is just the current directory. So how do I do that? This test is supposed to be only run from within here, so I think it's CWD, right? I just have to pass the current record directory of the script. os.get CWD. Yep. All right, figured. os.get CWD. I knew it was something simple. Go will import those automatically for you. All right, so let's see. That's what we're operating for S base item source. Oh, am I gonna have to cast that to string? I think I am. I am. Yeah. Unsupported type. Wait, what? Unsupported operands. One of them is a string, huh? Well, yeah. I headed back to visit family and friends. Now, how do we do this? Then? This is operand is not going to work. Do I have to cast it as a dir? Tell me what's wrong. No, wrong thing. Wrong thing. Uh, PV copy. Paste. Do, 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 do. This helps the password dedicated with start public only. You're mutating items in place. Some of these files are fine, two of them are not. Oh, okay. Yeah, I should not be doing starts with. This is a problem for sure. Yeah. Path item source. Sources. Oh, this is great. Good job. Good job. Good job, AI. That's much better. That's how I like to use AI. I like to specifically consult it instead of having it burn energy unnecessarily all the time by resolving things dynamically. Who fuck does that? Um, where's my other path? There we go. Okay, so path lib dot path. Resolve items. This guy can go away. We need this guy, so this needs to be path lib. Path lib, path lib. All right, so if the target is absolute. As much as you return items. All right. So that was nice. That was very helpful. Appreciate my AI helping me out there. And hey, the test passed. All right. I have 15 minutes, so I need to go. Yeah. AI lets you grow technical debt faster and very easy. Absolutely. Push it to production faster. Maybe to have automated tests. Yes. I know, right? Nefarious. It's like an old timer position, but it's right. It's also correct. It wouldn't be the first time. Well, um, we have the opposite problem right now. We have a bunch of old timers who don't believe in source management. And so they change things live on our test systems, and we don't have it saved anywhere. And it's annoying the fuck out of me, enough to like spend 9 hours making a tool to get around it on my own time. I love them. They're fantastic people. I love working with them, but my God, it is hard. They've been changing Perl code live for 30 years without any source tracking. And now they're on board with the source tracking. They just they don't know it, and I still don't know it yet. And I'm still learning it. So I have no finger to point here. They are trying really hard, but at the same time they got deadlines, and so they're like, I just want this done. And so they go out there and they change it in the test one. And the idea is that they'll get the test system working so they can beat another team that we're competing against, so they can prove that our system works. The problem with that, and I have been burned by this so many times in life, is that if you make your hack too good, they won't ever give you time to come back and do it right. So, like, if you rush to the finish line to get something out that's going to beat everybody else, yeah, I know, Gitorial, then it will, oh, hey, look, it's working. Great. That means we can start using it. And you'll be like, well, actually, no. I'm like, what do you mean, no? It's like, well, this was a proof of concept that we've got to use for testing. So we need some time to clean it up properly. Like, so you're not really done, right? I'm like, no, we're done. It's just, we just have to clean it up. So this never ends well. It never ends well. In my experience, it never ends well. Rushing to the end, and I have the opposite problem. I spend too much time polishing it and making it perfect rather than getting a quick and dirty thing out there to flesh out what's actually needed. And then you go back and you refine everything, right? So I'd be the guy who spend too much time. I'm always this guy. I spend too much time making the thing perfect and then finding out that half of it isn't even needed, and so all that time was wasted. So I have the opposite problem, right? So we work good together because we have the fast quick gun cowboys making this stuff work, and then we have people like me that are kind of bringing it together and wrangling it up and making these commits every once in a while and keeping it so that we don't blow shit up. So we work well together, but it's a challenge. Oh, hey, wow, that's a great raid. Thank you there. How do I say James Warner? I'm guessing is your name. How you doing? Uh, we're just doing a little bit of code. I only have about 20 minutes left. And So just really quickly, I'm writing a deploy script to save us from ourselves. We have a bunch of people uh, doing changes live in a test system, and they're not saving it into Git. And so I'm making a tool that saves me from that after having overridden I backed it out, but I made a change to our head of our dev branch, and I went to deploy it, and I said, let's just check. And I checked to see if the live one in our dev environment was actually consistent with what was in source code. And guess what? No, it wasn't even in source management. And I would have blown out, I would have broken the test. And then it was another change that was supposed to have been deployed that everybody said was deployed. And then I went to go check that, and that wasn't there. And somebody was spinning their wheels 20 minutes like on a bug that had already been fixed because it hadn't been deployed. So there's no CI/CD in this environment. So, you know, there's no CI/CD. So this is a safety tool for me uh, that we've been wanting for a long time that takes in these sorts of things. And I did it right. I took a long time relearning Python yesterday. I hadn't coded Python in 15 years or something like that, and so I had to start relearning Python. Um, so welcome. I apologize. I'm gonna have to leave here pretty soon. That's a tendency with Perl code. Yeah, that's in fact, I had a senior executive who wrote all the Perl code tell me directly. I just wish we could move faster because the old times we would just change the code and anybody could change the code and there wasn't this gatekeeping like with Go and stuff like that. And this is a very common sentiment. So if I'm not even demonizing it. I'm just stating a fact. If you there's a lot of stuff that gets floated out there on YouTube and on the internet that's not real. What's real is you're dealing with people and people are of all different ages and experiences. I'm dealing with something like an 80,000 line Perl code base that we are retiring and trying to integrate. Basically, we're taking PBS out and we're putting Slurm in and we're hooking Slurm into the existing legacy Perl code so that they can submit high performance machine learning jobs to our multiple thousands of like $10,000 to $20,000 GPUs that sit around wasted if we don't do it right. And I mean, we have more computing power. I can't tell you where I work, but we have more computing power than most companies on the planet. We're probably number 5 in the world, um, and you would not believe the company, but please don't give away where I work. So so we have this and I helped write the API. I wrote most a good half of the API at least. My buddy and I wrote it to submit these machine learning jobs to this legacy system. And then we have to make sure that same API works, it's written in Go, with our existing commands. And those commands run by encapsulating, thank God, the PBS commands. And the PBS commands are the ones that allow submission of batch processing and everything. It's an old ancient thing owned by Altair now that came out of NASA years ago. That's all written in Perl. And so there's a lot of really big shops. This is where the reality check comes in. There's a lot of really big shops out there who use PBS for batch processing because it was the only way to do it. This is post mainframe, pre CI/CD, pre Slurm, pre Kubernetes, and so now they're getting ready. It looks like they're going to be able to abandon the entire Perl code base, which is really good because but right now a bunch of us, I know Perl better than pretty much anybody on the team, including the people who wrote this code. They don't know how to mess with the symbol table and everything like that. So, and I've done a lot of that in my Perl module submissions the to CPAN and all that years ago. So, I actually really enjoy getting my fingers dirty in Perl, but so now we're making Slurm work, which means, like, for example, deleting a job. I have to like inject the Slurm command to do the same thing to delete the job, and we have to maintain all of the 1990s UI that's running off CGI scripts, which is so crazy. They have command line code that calls up through an HTTP client request using LWP agent, if you know it, in Perl, and it actually um, requests a CGI script output, waits around for it, and turns it back. That's to run it on the command line. So their command, it's interesting to see. It's actually kind of if you like technical, you know,
kind of Indiana Jones interesting things. You can see what they you can see the beginnings of you can see the beginnings of where it would go. I love Pearl. Don't you fucking bash on Pearl. Pearl is the best thing for the right job. Um, and yeah, you're gonna giggle because it's old. Yeah, but if you knew how much money is traveling through this particular system, you know what? You can laugh all you want about Pearl CGI. Multiple billions of dollars passed through this system. I personally saved the company $10 million last year by modernizing some of these pieces of the system with an API that ties into the legacy system. And that meant doing bullshit nobody would ever approve of on the internet. For example, writing an entire transport layer that runs over SSH because their commands are all command line and you can't stand up an HTTP endpoint on those ancient systems. You're like, why on earth would you ever create an HTTP SSH transport? That's like totally stupid. No, it's not. It's not stupid if you're enabling a $1 billion system that has been running for 25 years. So, I don't know. I have a little. I don't. If I'm sounding triggered, it's because I'm a little bit tired of defending these legacy systems. It's like, people are like, well, you should modernize and run CI/CD and like overnight. Yeah, right. Okay. Why don't we do that while you're finishing your doctorate dissertation or some shit, and I'm actually doing real work? Okay, that was over the top. I mean, I'm sorry. It's like I actually have to deal with reality, and reality is messy old code bases and engineers who don't want to learn new things or are about to retire. This is reality. This is why COBOL programmers are making over 200K a year still today because nobody wants to do that work. But there are really expensive, high power, important systems that use that stuff all the time. So at some point, if you're going to be a seasoned engineer, if you're going to be a good engineer, you're going to have to put your dogmatic belief systems aside. And I'm talking to myself here too, right? I'm using Neobim, by the way. There's videos of me like hating on Neobim. So I'm not saying don't modernize. I'm just saying just know your boundaries and be able to adapt and be able to work with people. The biggest problem in the world right now is that we are all so dogmatic in our beliefs that we will not compromise. God damn it. We are not going to give in and we're not going to work with each other. You know, you had to Perl debug with command tracing last week. It pumped out 460 lines of command execution. It was a bad problem. Right? Yeah. Pascal too. Pascal is still out there. And it's like, anyway, guys, I'm really sorry. I have to take off. Raid and run. Somebody just raided me, so I'm going to use this time to raid. I have to leave at 9. I have a kind of a hard stop. I have to be somewhere. So this has been really fun. I'm doing commits to my dev branch, so I'm going to go ahead and do a working commit here really quick. And actually, I had to remind myself of something. I'm actually kind of proud of this little repo. Um, because I did set it up correctly from the beginning so that I can do like working commits with a draft mode PR. If you don't know how to do that, I do that at the beginning of the video from yesterday, and you should really get into that. That's a really great workflow for working on this kind of stuff without blowing up production. Um, so get commit, and I don't care about the messages because they're all going to get squashed because it's a draft PR. So rethinking naming and testing and get push. Thanks for the follow there. Appreciate that. So here's my GH PR view web. I can send you the PR if you guys want to follow along. And you can see my commit history is really messy, right? So you can see, actually, if you want, you can go see back when we started it in Bash. I'll send this to you guys. So you can go take a peek if you want and tell me I'm doing it wrong or whatever. But yeah, it's great to be back coding a little bit. with y'all. And but I actually have to go now, so I have 3 minutes. Let's go ahead and find somebody to raid, shall we? I'm just gonna take a. Does anybody have a preference on who to raid? Otherwise, I'm just gonna guess. I don't raid game devs. I don't have anything against them. I try to find other people. This is a problem with the software and game dev category. Is it's software and game devs. Mardi Gras. Is it Mardi Gras going on right now? Hey, Bellum. I can't find anybody fun to raid. Quick filters falling plus same category. Yes, same category. How about that? Compiler dev. Nice. Tree sitting. That sounds cool. That sounds really cool. To the dogmas, I don't raid game dev. I I have rated game dev before. I just prefer not to. Is that fine? I'm not saying they're not smart. I like to keep the theme the same until I raid music streamers. If I do like an 8 hour stream, sometimes I'll raid a music streamer, which I think is kind of fun. I think it's fun to kind of expand the software and game dev audience to like watch other people, you know, who have talent and don't just look really good. Which is also sort of, some. I mean, that's worth it. I should shut up now. I should shut up now. That's people for work game jam. That looks kind of cool. Fragment and enjoy. On crée notre jeu. Head is on? Is he? Well, he's getting rated every single time. Every single time. If you're not following Het Tennis, you should be. He knows this stuff way better than me. Not the coding, but the DevOps and all that. So, our rating Het. All right. Adios. Bye bye. Adios. Bye bye. Tell him hi. I'm not going to be able to talk to him. Please tell him hi. I'm like running out the door. See you guys. Bye now. Bye
Add that in.
now.
And now, do you
Bye
have to
bye
know those
bye.
commands like by heart to just